It is clear by now that Seraph have definitely gone off the deep end. Now he can no longer be stopped. And I'm not saying invincible stop. No, I'm just saying that his insanity, his grief, and so many things more has now gone so off the deep end. He just killed his trump card. Or maybe Hiro Mishima-san actually forgot that he claimed that Lacrade was a triumph card. I mean, I did not like Lacrade that much, but what I do can agree that one of Fairy Tail's strongest moments is that even though a villain is abrasive, especially given that Marde Gre, I did not like Marde Gre either, because he was, not because he was a bad written villain, no, because I couldn't stand his arrogance and his defeat was also satisfying. Lacrade was strangely similar. I couldn't stand his arrogance, but his defeat was also satisfying. And yet both of them went out the exact same way. Destroyed by the man they considered father, the man they were loyal to, and the one they were gonna do grant the wishes that one wanted. That person was Seraph, and he just mercilessly destroyed both of them. It's a truly alas poor villain moment. Hi for those who are watching, yes I am the Angry Me Fan the Despair reviewer, and we see a very sexy cover in a little bit of a hint for the upcoming movie, especially Lucy in a what is that, a belly dancing dress, and also some information about the voice actors for the upcoming movie. I don't remember the other two. All I remember is Aoyuki playing the female character, which was actually a surprise, but I like that. And as I said, yes, Seraph destroys Lacrade because he was interrupting everything else. He completely obliterates him, and everything that is left is just a bloody pile of blood. And that's what I'm saying in the beginning, that Seraph's insanity has gone off the deep end. A couple of chapters ago, he claimed that Lacrade was his triumph card against Acnologia. And he just killed that triumph card. And no, I am not saying that like, oh, Fairy Tail is bad writing and blah 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 blah. No, I'm just saying that this is an excellent example on how when a villain snaps. Not that Seraph was sane to begin with, but the more we have gotten into this Alvarez arc, the more Seraph's grief and insanity have just increased further. And he, for the first time, actually spews that out. I mean, he has, of course, always mentioned it. But for the first time, he actually does that kind of moments I've always expected him to do. Why do I have to suffer so much? So if I'm gonna bring suffer, then I will bring everything else suffer to it. People consider that to be a very bad way for a villain to play, but I still have actually praised that because people do not seem to realize that grief, tragedy, and despair can really fuck you up. Just how is it so difficult for people to understand that? Why can't you believe that such things exist? Look at the political system now, and you will understand. But either way, Natsu is of course not happy with that, and they continue fighting. And then happens the one thing I think people will have a very hard time accepting, but hey, it's Fairy Tail, it's supposed to be this way. August Rise. Unfortunately, he was not one hit KO'd. I'm saying unfortunately because that only made what he just did now all the more unacceptable for all those haters. So instead of August acknowledges that he was born with mighty magic, therefore something like that will not go away. But apparently he had thrown away that magic and throw away his mighty magic. So he will destroy this country. So he intends to actually sacrifice himself and destroy this town with it. And once it's called an ancient magic ars magia. And suddenly Mavis feels something and begins to hurt as August is evaporating the town. And what is actually stopping as August sees uh, the Ka- uh, Gildar's hugging Kana, protecting her. He still remembers what he said to Jalal. Um, he was born he was born with power of light, and the only thing that could stop him was actually his mother, the one thing he believed would show her love. And in a way, that actually did happen, but not the way people wanted to. But I'm actually not criticizing this, and no, that's not just because I'm a maniac fairy tale defender. No, because this actually is a sense of tragedy in it. All August wanted was to actually hear "I love you" from his parents, and people are gonna say that is such a way of his character. But I'm not actually criticizing that, because that's making a character just the more tragic when he hides that behind his face. Remembering that maybe he wanted to be stopped, and just hearing that words, he looks at the face and sees Mavis, realizing that if he destroys this town and him along in it, he will destroy uh, Mavis too. He decides not to do so and actually um, destroys only himself. Although Mavis thinks that maybe his magic power couldn't handle this power. But as August disappears, he laments the fact that he could never ever hear her, nor hear his mother calling out to him, nor holding him in her arms. And I have to admit, that's actually very sad. People may say that August did a 180 personality trait, but in the end, he was just a guy who, unlike Lacrade, who openly admitted and in the end got destroyed by Seraph, August decided to hide everything, every single one of his pains behind a mask and ultimate magic. But he wasn't happy. He was never. And another thing that people shouldn't criticize is that now all the Springhams have been defeated. And there's one thing they shouldn't criticize. I mean, they're probably all gonna bitch about saying, like, oh, now Eileen died and August died. Once again, you're not supposed to hype up a villain this much! If that happens, that's only gonna make their defeat all the more unacceptable. The Yonko, for example. But I don't see no reason why people cannot accept this. If you think about it, the heroes did not defeat Eileen nor August. August and Eileen defeated themselves. So how can that be unacceptable? It's in a way they didn't get defeated by Nakama power. They just got surrendered by their own personal feelings. Finally, Gray and Lucy meets up with Mavis, and she begins to tell them the so-called plan. As she escaped Seraph, she actually managed to get the book of E and D, which was Natsu. And apparently she has already figured out that what Natsu really was. So, uh, Mavis believes Natsu will beat Seraph, and then Mavis will erase Seraph, I believe she means. And only the power of his friends can save him. Well, Nakama power have done that before, so I actually believe it can happen, but it still doesn't exactly answer how that can be possible. So, but Mavis does says that please don't let anyone near this place while it happens. As Seraph still talks about how many innocent bodies he walked over, and how much he could not have family and he shouldn't be forgiven, not so surprisingly, for the first time acknowledges Seraph as a brother. I mean, Nuts have come a long way. He has always been the hothead and stuff, but in the end, even he acknowledges that Seraph is his brother. This is almost the same situation when Haru confronted Lucia and stuff like that during Lucia's breakdown, saying, "This is my destiny," and he said, "This is not your destiny. You're just making yourself an excuse." Still, though, still Seraph says, like, "Why would you say words like that, Natsu? Because that is passion." And so they both activate their power as Mavis dashes towards uh, Seraph, still saying she has a way to defeat Seraph. I have a feeling a lot of people are not gonna like it, how she will defeat him. But so the thing is moving on with everything else. As she dashes towards the one, the chapter ends, and next chapter is called Dragon Demon somehow. What? You telling me the E&D seed and the dragon seed are not destroyed after all? Who cares? I certainly don't. Whatever happens here, it's up to people to decide. Either way, only friends can help each other recover from the one. So all in all, just some emotions of it all. And August's character and Lacrad's death was very tragic. So I guess in the end, I think we can say that Seraph is the XP of Lucia, a villain that went mad and was very destructive, yet secretly hides an inner hurt. I mean, Seraph wasn't secretly hurting; he was always hurting. He just gave up on hurting after everything he's going through. Lucia from Rave Master, he every time seemed to be a sociopath, and he was that up until the very end. But in the biggest end, he cried and just said that I lost my mother. My father was imprisoned. Disappeared. I was imprisoned. This is definitely a wrong world. So in the end, he just gave in to what he believed was destiny, which was to crush everything. Yes, because he himself was hurting. So that's why I think this chapter was good, because it deals with that most. People are hurting, and you people need to understand. Despair, hatred, fear, and inner pain can really change you. So give me your thoughts if you have any.